What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to be giving you guys a spoiler-free review of The Penguin. I think the first episode of the show dropped tonight on HBO, and then, of course, corresponding with Max as well. And then it'll be dropping weekly. There is 8 episodes in the season. I think we both have screened all 8 episodes, so we're going to give a spoiler-free, like I said, spoiler-free review of the show, talk about some of our favorite aspects of the show, talk about the box office breakdown, and then share some movie and TV news of the week. As always, I'm joined by my partner here, Mr. Don Fisher. How are you, buddy?
Yo, what's poppin', Colonels? We out here. We're getting close to the National Film Festival. It just seems like now, like with football season happening, and also with we still are on. We're still post COVID, so it's still like cities and businesses are still trying to have events and big things to bolster their businesses. So there's always something going on, and this weekend was no different. I know you were out doing the survival joint downtown. I was at a screening. It's always busy.
Yeah, and the thing about it is we talked about the podcast last week about how we were going to go see X, Y, and Z movies at the National Film Festival. We're going to go see this movie. We're going to go see this movie. And then we were talking about, man, we hope they add different movies to the screening board. And it was like, all right, cool. And then out of complete left field, they dropped some bangers on us, including Saturday Night, which is a film that has been getting rave reviews coming out of TIFF and Telluride, talking about how great it is. It's smack dab on a Saturday night, literally Saturday night, which intertwines with interrupting not one, but 2 screenings on Saturday night. The one that we were actually laughing about last week, where he said he was going to go see the shorts and I was going to go see a movie. And I was like, the shorts will be available online. He's like, well, yeah. And then after we had that, I think we might even had that conversation off the air. And then the following day, literally the following day, they add Saturday night, and it threw both of our things for a loop, because obviously it's a film that we both want to see, because it is in the conversation right now. A film that I don't think a lot of people expected to be in the awards conversation. It doesn't come out until October the 11th. So to get a couple week head start gives us the opportunity to be ahead of the ball. You know what I mean? That's the big thing for us, because there's a film called Unstoppable that's going to hit the theater. That's going to be coming out as well. It doesn't come out until, I think it's like the end of the year, like Christmas time, I think it is. December 2024. And it's a film that's going to be playing, because Dom, again, we were trying to figure out our schedule. And in figuring out our schedule, we realized it played in the middle of something else. So completely altering our schedule it hasn't been fun at all.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how I don't know if there's any way to, unless they knew ahead of time, to make it better. I think that's all part of a festival, right? Like, it's a competition for who's going to see, which movies you're going to see. And I get it. And it's just unfortunate though, for us, it's like wanting to see as much as possible. And then you got to sacrifice, you got to, who's getting the head chop. And unfortunately,
exactly,
I've chopped probably about 6 movies.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's crazy because at the same time, what's playing is we had a movie Monday that we really wanted to see. But then not only that, there is the Megapolis screening, the Wild Robots, and then there's a Wolf screening all in the same day. So 4 films, one day, same time.
Yep.
You got to pick one. You can't go to any, you can't even go to 2 of them. You know what I mean? And then through this, there's movies that are coming out that are new that we're going to miss, because there's like Substance, a film that we've heard a lot about from a lot of different people. And it's a movie I really want to see, but I can't see it yet because we've got the festival going on. We got a lot of screenings going on. It's a good problem to have. Obviously, we're kind of talking about, and then of course, on top of that, September 30th is Joker. You know what I mean? So like that's added into the equation. And there's plenty of films coming out still over the next few weeks. But seeing something like Saturday Night, which is something that'll probably get a screening around here, they'll probably put it in front of critics. But if we're already ahead of that 8 ball, then we can kind of shift the way that we're doing things. You know what I mean? In hopes of already seeing it, so we can see something else instead as well.
Yeah, yeah, because if Rachel Sennett is in it, I'm in the seat, and she's in Saturday Night. I just matter of fact, I just watched I Used to Be Funny. She's in that, stars in that movie. Great movie. So yeah, man, that's unofficially that's the homie. So you gotta go see
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, because even looking at the next couple of weeks, obviously theatrical wise, nothing super like, in my opinion, nothing super duper huge, but like Megaopolis, The Wild Robot, My Old Ass, we've already seen that. Then Amber Alert's coming out September 27th. We'll see that at the film festival, which got added late. But then the week after that's, Joker. But then the week of the 11th, like there's The Apprentice, that movie I really want to see. You know what I mean? And then there's Piece by Piece, which is getting a lot of hype. That the Lego movie about Pharrell Williams' life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That looks kind of freaking dope. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, lots of movies on the forefront, on the horizon, but a lot of content coming our way. And God, 60, that's a 120. Man, that's really it. Like the Smile 2 movie really is 2 hours and 12 minutes. Holy shit. That's just ridiculous. All right. That being said, we are going to talk about the box office real quick, see what the number one movies of the week are. Let's see here. Number one movie, obviously coming out for a second week, dropping only 53%. I know it says only 53%, but it's not that high of a number whenever you have a film that's going that high, which is Beetlejuice coming at $51 million. Speak No Evil. I skipped the screening last week to see it. I've heard nothing but mediocre things about it.
I love it.
I heard the end sucked, but I saw your review. Check out Dom's review. It's over at geekvibination.com. Check that out. Deadpool still swinging strong at the box office.
That's crazy. Deadpool and Wolverine being up there still is crazy.
8 weeks later, still going strong. Daily Wire's Am I a Racist hit $4.7 million at the box office in only 1,500 theaters, which absolutely demolished the Killer's Game of Dave Bautista in over 900 or 1,100 more theaters. Bautista can't win in theaters, man.
It's unfortunate.
He's not a draw. I mean, he's a good actor, and this film has like Netflix or Prime Video written all over it.
Yeah.
So it kind of surprised me. And Lionsgate can't win for shit. Like they've got bomb after bomb coming out right now, right? Like Lionsgate's release schedule 2020. It's like, because what is it? They had The Crow. Oops, hang on. Let's see here.
It is Strangers, right?
Yeah. Recently they had so they had The Crow, they had Borderlands with which both bombed out of their ass. Yeah. Megaopolis, they paid a little penny for that. That's gonna bomb out of its ass. So it hasn't been a Boy Kills World. They paid a lot of money for that. It hasn't been a great year for these guys. They did bring out Scrambled, which was fantastic. But Reagan came in at number 5, still kicking. Alien Romulus is still in the top 10, 5th week in. It's over 100 million. I think it's over 300 million worldwide, which is pretty cool. It ends with Us is on 144. The Forge coming in at 9th, and then bringing up the rear. God's Not Dead, 455, because I think there's been 700 of those movies now. But yeah.
I think that's literally like the 5th one.
Let's see here. How many God Not Dead movies are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. 5th one.
Yeah, and I don't know if people are paying attention. When you see like Am I Racist? You see Reagan on there. You see God's Not Dead. The Forge. Yeah, if you have paid attention to like anything that you're watching, especially like newer stuff that you would think would be like when you see rated R and you're like, man, it's not as rated as R as I thought. there's like this weirdly subtle shift in movie making where it's getting a lot more conservative, and not conservative in the sense of like, right wing or things like that, but in there's not as much as like the the mindless nudity, um cussing you're gonna hear, but it's still, it's not as, things aren't as raunchy as they used to be. I don't know where the shift is happening, or if this is a mindful thing, or if people are afraid to go to a certain level to when they're making their artwork. But there, I have noticed that things, unless it's like something with action and killing, things aren't as graphic and gruesome as they once were. And it's just really interesting to kind of like peep game, and you're like, hold up, this movie was made 5 years ago. It would have looked a little different, would have sounded a little different, but there is a shift coming, and I don't really know what is warranting that shift. But I mean, hell, as long as there is good stuff being made, it is what it is. Things come in waves, so things like this will pop up, do good, and then eventually it will die down, and it's always going to go like this. Uh, and there does have to be something for everybody. But this also is the election year. So, things like this are going to pop up and be very active on these types of lists.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely kind of expected, not really shocking. It's definitely weird. I guess I don't know if maybe weird's not the right word for it, but I mean maybe it is weird. You know what I mean? Election year, we got some strong content coming about this, that, and indifferent. I mean, it comes across from both sides of the fence either. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because we got that Lincoln movie, that documentary coming out where it talks about Lincoln could have been gay this whole time, and there's
yeah,
evidence to back it up, and I'm sure that will make a lot of people mad. But it's gonna be curious to see the backlash or outcry or whatever comes from that. Because I've already seen little comments on like YouTube, and it's like, look, the facts are the facts, bro. You can get mad all you want to.
yeah. I mean, if dude like dudes, dude like dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about some news of the week. Nothing crazy. We'll just run these down. Let Dom give some 2 cents whenever he's ready for it. There's one thing that I'm really in particularly excited for, but Netflix secured the rights to Aaron Rodgers' Enigma docuseries premiering December 17th as a broader push into sports content. Not mad about it. Rodgers is Rodgers. He can be annoying. He says stupid shit, but he's entertaining. So I'm not mad about it, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. As a Packers fan, um, look, Brett Favre eventually said too many things, and he became someone who was unlikable. Aaron Rodgers eventually said too many things, and he becomes unlikable. His unlikable is more of like douchey unlikable than like, man, I can't. This guy's not a good person. It's just interesting to see. Like, I recently said the same thing about Tom Brady. He's commentating now. Eventually, he's going to say too much, and I think when you're considered the GOAT, you can't be out talking so much, because you're gonna put your foot in your mouth, and people are gonna like, you're gonna fall in some people's eyes a little bit. But he's
For
gonna do his
sure.
thing for a little bit.
Christopher McDonald and Julie Bowman and Bad Bunny joined the cast of Netflix's Happy Gilmore 2. I mean, okay. I don't know if we really needed that movie, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think I needed a sequel. I love the original. We all had a little crush on Julie Bowen. I want to see. I do. I'm curious to see how Bad Bunny fits though. I just feels
Yeah.
like that was like he just called his friend up. It was like, hey, you want to come be in my movie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know either. Let's see here. There is going to be a movie about the Cola Wars, a Sony film about the 1980s battle between Pepsi and Coke. Judd Apatow is set to direct it, with Steven Spielberg set to produce it. The studio bought the project back for $1 million plus as a pitch, telling the true story of Pepsi's attempt to challenge Coca-Cola's century-long reign as the world tops cola. Let's see here. It capped blah 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 blah. Let's see if there's any information about anything
As
else.
long as it's not like Frosted, we're good. Because Frosted was not great.
Jason Schumann is actually co-writing it, which I love him. He's a co-writer and creator of Acapulco, which is on Apple TV Plus. He's an executive producer on HBO's Winning Time and producer of To Leslie. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I
If
feel
it's
like it's
anything
gonna
like,
be
if it could be as good as like Air, I mean, I'm good with it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
or
Like,
was it Flaming Hot? Flaming Hot?
yeah, Flamin' Hot. I really enjoyed Flamin' Hot
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
So yeah,
it's gonna be nostalgic too. I do, as much as they're talking about
that
the '80s, we all remember the Pepsi and Coke challenge where you taste one and try to pick which one's the best one. It was a
yep.
fun time.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Same. Let's see here. This is the one I'm very excited about. Michael B. Jordan is such a direct and star in the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair for Amazon MGM. I actually really excited about this. The Thomas Crown Affair is actually a really good movie, and um, it's a heist film, basically. It's a billionaire who steals a painting from an art gallery to pursued by an insurance investigator, with the two falling in love. Yeah, I mean, obviously the original starred Pierce Brosnan and Rene
Yeah,
Russo.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Give me a good looking side piece for Michael B. Jordan to star against. Like, I'm for this. I love the Thomas Crown Affair, so give it to me.
Yeah, I'm glad that I forgot that he has that his production company has that
Mhm.
deal with
Yep.
MGM Amazon, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. He's gonna put out some good stuff. I mean, that's a handsome dude who doesn't like looking at Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, it should be a really cool thing.
Yeah, I am super excited about that. But all right, this thing says movie review, but it's a TV review. Oh, here we go.
All right. Let's get into the Penguin. Now, unlike most things, the description of this show is very short. Um, the transformation of Oswald Cobblepot from a disfigured nobody to a noted Gotham gangster. Now, we'll note real quick, we had a uh, press conference, and his name in this show is Oswald Cobb, not Cobblepot, because Cobblepot doesn't feel like a real name, so I went with Cobb. And the show stars Colin Farrell, who he I don't know how they make him look so much not like Colin Farrell. It's fucking nuts. Um, you have Kristen Mialotti, Clancy Brown, Mark Strong momentarily, Renzi Feliz, Michael Zegan momentarily, Theo Rossi, and a slew of other people. I'll jump into it since I just finished it uh this afternoon. Okay, so first off, 8 episodes. It's gonna come out weekly. The episodes are about an hour long, and this show, if you're expecting, um, if you're expecting Batman, if you're expecting this to be a superhero type show, you are mistaken. This is a gangster show. This is like you put Sopranos in Gotham, right? This is a man who came from nothing and he's trying to make a name for himself. And along that way, he is part of this Falcone mob family, and he doesn't quite get the respect he gets, and he takes upon himself to do what he needs to do to become the guy, the Penguin that we know. The show is dark, it's gritty. We get to see Gotham like never before. Like Gotham feels like a whole city now. It feels complete. We have like boroughs like New York. You get to see the really like upper class neighborhoods. We get to see like the hood, the projects, and the places that get forgot. So it is very like reminiscent of the things we see in our actual reality. We have a character in Oz who you forget that he's a villain. He is like a very oddly sympathetic character because he has the gift of gab. This dude knows how to weasel himself out of every situation, and it's not always pretty, but he is a chess player in this gangster life, and he always is 2 steps ahead of everybody else, even when you think he is about to die. You have a character who is a new character that's not part of the comics, in Victor Aguilar, who is my favorite character, who is just a kid who kind of resembles the same kind of life as Oz. So Oz takes him under his wing, and then he gets to experience this gangster life, even though it is kind of thrust upon him. And then you get to meet a whole bunch of other characters, and there is Sophia Falcone, and there is other names that are from the Batman movie, Matt Reeves' Batman movie, that are referenced through nameplates, through some just talking. There is, like, out of all the superhero shows we've seen, like Marvel, we've seen all that they've put out. We've seen these DC shows, like Titan and or Titans, and I wish I could remember the other one. But this show, like Peacemaker, is one of the best superhero shows. I know it's not based on the superhero, but in that realm of superhero shows, this is one of the best ones. Like, it's not even close, really. I mean, on the Marvel side, maybe like WandaVision, but this show, like, if you're not a comic book fan, it don't matter. You're watching gangsters do gangster shit. Um, I mean, there's backstabbing, there's drug dealing, there's, dudes getting put in their place when they step across the line. There's feuding families because each borough has a different gang or mob, underbosses, the whole nine, and everything's gonna come to a head at some point. Like, it's one. I mean, it's one of, if not top 3 shows that reside within a superhero realm. Uh, it looks great. The acting is. I mean, Colin Farrell. He's gotta win some kind of award for this performance, because not only does the makeup crew make him look unrecognizable, like we saw in the Batman, but the voice, the mannerisms, like, if you were to just watch this and someone told you Colin Farrell was in it, you'd be spending the entire season trying to find him somewhere because he does that good of a job. Um, yeah, man, it's almost a perfect show. Um, I don't know where I would say, like, do this better, do that better, but I mean, it's good. We do get just enough of the Batman world that to go, okay, I know this is attached, but seeing how the texture and the levels that we get of, the Penguin that we know, to see where he comes from and how he became who he is, and all the psychological steps he goes through to convince himself he is who he is. Fantastic, fantastic. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I binge watched this in 2 days. Um, I feel I don't want like I feel bad for saying that out loud, just because so many people are having to wait, the time to have to watch the show. Um, I wasn't sure what to expect whenever the show started. I really wasn't. I wasn't sure what to think. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, what it was going to be like. Um, w- I was hoping it was going to be dark. I hope it was going to be gritty. I was hoping it was going to be like more of just about the Penguin, less about Batman, just letting the Penguin thrive and shine and all of these things. And that's exactly what it was, right? This was wrote to perfection. You know what I mean? Like, to me, this was on the same level for, like, I think Daredevil is one of the greatest comic book shows like ever, like, written. Like, the way the story was told, the way that it's allowed the characters to kind of flex upon this dark realm with, and of course, like the inclusion of like the Punisher and Bullseye and stuff like that. This allowed the world around it to be dark and grimy and just like you have all of these evil human beings that none of them are good people. You know what I mean? Like none of them are. You know what I mean? And you even said this, like you even made you kind of there's elements of this story that you felt empathy towards the Penguin. Like why? Like why do you feel good for this guy that is such a vile and ruthless human being? And it's hard to say this because like there's so many different elements of like it's one of the best shows of this year. Like I've seen a lot of shows this year, and it is by far in probably my top 3. You know what I mean? It really is in the top 3. Performance wise, Christine Milioti, I guess you could say her name is.
Like that, Milioti.
She plays Sophia Falcone. She is a badass in this, certified badass. Okay, and the thing about it is what clicks with her character that I think I loved so much was early on in the show, kind of shy, kind of reserved, kind of getting a lay of the land, kind of figuring things out, kind of playing chess behind the scenes. And then there's like that switch. When that switch happens, she's ruthless, cutthroat, like insane. Like Christine, I'm telling you, this performance is mesmerizing. And the thing about it is I love Colin Farrell in this. And Colin Farrell I expected him to be great as the Penguin, right? I expected him to be good as Oswald there. I expected a lot of the characters to be. I didn't expect her to be able to just absolutely rip it to shreds. You know what I mean? Like she was on another level in this show. There's so many good performances in this top to bottom. There was one thing that happened, and I can't talk about it, won't talk about it. Dom knows exactly where I'm going with this. To me, it was the final straw that made me think like, damn, this is as close to as a perfect television show as you can get. It's one of the most gut-wrenching moments that you'll see on TV this year. And if it doesn't pull at your heartstrings, there's something really wrong with you. Because like it's raw and it's insane. Like it's insane. It's hard not to talk about it, but it's truly the two people in that scene give just this dynamic. Like there's an empathy in this oozing face of just like, oh my God, like it breaks your fucking heart. And to me, like I'm with Dom. Like it's what's holding me back from saying this is a perfect show. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's holding. I don't think there's anything I would have changed. I think all 8 episodes are perfect.
Yeah.
I think that the way that things move on, I love the way they utilize the Penguin, that he wasn't just a mouthy badass, but he was kind of a badass with his hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he could fight. You know, he could fight. You know, he wasn't great, but he could get the job done if he needed to. You know what I mean? But he was a weasel at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what makes him so interesting is that like he is like, because I kind of kept going through like he's like bad, but like not bad, but the not bad is still bad, and you're just like, I don't know why I feel this way. Like it's like I know he's doing dirt, but like his reasoning behind doing the stuff that he does is like you understand it. But the crazy part is as you gain understanding and sympathy sometimes and all these things, then you get to an episode, you go, oh, he might have been like a monster this whole time. And then that scene Ricky was talking about, I literally paused the episode. I sat there like, that really happened. I can't believe. Didn't see it coming. I was so mad. Like if I didn't care about my damn controller, I would have threw it. Because I was like, oh my God. Dude, I think that's the one thing about this show, because so every episode breaks down not in a necessary order, but every main character gets their shine. You get like the backstory, what makes them tick, why they make some of those decisions they're making, and how it eventually ties into the greater story. And it's not just that whole episode is solely them, but you'll get it for like the first half, and then it ties back into what's going on this whole entire time. So they do like it wasn't Lauren LaFranc, I believe, is the showrunner creator. She is whatever whatever magic she has in her pen. They need to utilize the hell out of it for as long as they can, because to make a show about a character or a villain that I mean, I'm a Batman fan. I never really cared about the Penguin because he just didn't have the demeanor and stature to like make me feel threatened for Batman. I know he was able to like con people and make all these moves, but just like it's the Penguin. But he became a very formidable character because he knows all the moves to make. He knows all the players. He knows everyone, and he's got the gift of gab. I mean, he can he can stab you and then tell you why you deserve to be stabbed, and you'd be like, "Oh, I think I understand why he did it. I mean, he didn't kill me. He just stabbed me. He could have killed me. I guess I'm okay with that's a kind of character that they created, and it the way that I think that this is going to lend itself to the greater Reeves verse, I guess. This is next Batman movie. I mean, I think it's going to be great because it does tie into what we're going to see coming. I assume we're going to be seeing coming in the future. Yeah, dude, like it's great. And I do like we were talking about that it does come out, weekly. And I know some people are gonna be like, why don't you just drop all 8? You need time to process some of these things because there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot going on. And I think that to allow it to breathe the way they do House of the Dragon, where we all get to talk about it and really create a community around this show, I think is a better than just dropping all 8 of them. Because we are gonna talk about this way we talk about House of the Dragon. And we're gonna talk about these gangsters. We're gonna talk about the families and how we're gonna be picking sides. There's enough characters. You're picking sides because, like Ricky said, everybody's bad. Everybody is bad. Even the ones that seem like, oh no, he's a good guy. Is he though? You know what I mean? Like, is he? Because everybody does dirt, and you gotta come to terms with like, okay, this is who I would ride for, or that's the one I ride for. So it's gonna be a fun ride. I can't wait for everybody to see this show.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I just, again, and we'll probably rehash this conversation coming around the final episode, just because we could talk about the entire season in spoiler form. But there's that one scene deserves to be talked about. Just, I mean, probably for an hour all on its own. But
Yeah. And I definitely think recently on Instagram, I think I've seen someone talking about like the greatest, or maybe there was a list that came out, the greatest TV episodes or TV scenes of all time. This guy, look, the way that you attach to these two characters to get to this point, it's got to be one of the greatest. Like, oh man.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. All right, Don, what else have you seen? Like you saw Speak No Evil. Give us some brief thoughts on Speak No Evil and Transformers.
So, Speak No Evil. I mentioned this in my written review. This takes you back to the times when you went to the movies when you were younger. You went to see the horror movies with your friends, and you're yelling at the screen because being attached to this family who's been invited by a strange family, you see all the missteps they're making because they see them too, but they're ignoring all the red flags. And you're like, no, don't go in that door. Don't go down that hallway. Leave right now. And it makes the film experience very fun. James McAvoy, we've seen him play crazy. This is peak crazy, and he's fantastic in it. Um, it's fun in a twisted way. It's completely unhinged. The movie whatever people that you've heard say it wasn't that good, they're lying to you. They don't want you to see no good movie. They want you to watch shit because this is a fun time. Transformers 1, pleasantly surprised. I know a lot of us, especially myself included, when we first saw like the teaser trailer and we saw the animation, I was turned off by it. I was like, this looks weird. I don't know, like the faces looked a little too human. I don't know. It felt off, but this movie, this movie is it. This is gonna be one of the top animated movies of the year. It probably won't be Inside Out 2, but it'll be up there. This is a story that is has more depth than you expect. This is a film of people trying to, uh, realize their potential, gain freedom, and of course, it's funny. Along have fun adventure along the way. You have Keegan Michael Key, who kind of steals the show as B, because this is the origin story of how um, Megatron, Optimus Prime came to be. They're friends, and then you kind of see what caused this divide. And it kind of feels in the same lane as like a Magneto, Professor X, what Mufasa is kind of looking like. You get to see like these two great buddies that eventually, come to blows. It looks great on screen, like a big screen. It looks fantastic, and it's a nonstop adventure. So whatever reservations you have, I had them too. I promise you, I did, because I almost skipped this screening. I almost didn't want to see it until I talked to Preston, Blu-ray dad, and he was like, "Nah, man, it's fantastic." And I said, "All right, I'm gonna take your word for it." He was right. It's a great movie, and it seemed like everybody else had the same response. Like it's just surprisingly really, really good. It's for the new and the old Transformer fans, because many people who were like, "I'm not really big into Transformers," they were like, "Oh, blown away." So yeah, it's definitely when it drops, it's worth seeing, and I suspect it's gonna kick ass in the box office.
Interesting. I will watch it. What have I watched? What
Oh, and I
have I
saw
watched?
Killer's Game.
Oh, was it any good?
It was cool. It, like you said, it does feel like it belonged more maybe on streaming, and I think it would have done gangbusters because there's some cool ass killing scenes. But the story is very like over the top. It's kind of like Kick Ass meets John Wick meets Nobody. Like it's kind of like a simple premise and just a lot of cool kills and stunts, and the all the different assassins get introduced in kind of quirky ways. It's a fun movie to watch. It's just like maybe I'll wait till it comes out on streaming. But shout out to
Yeah.
Batista, man. Batista's good. He is good in the movie, man. He has some acting chops, and like we said before, I don't think they're quite being utilized. But I know the guy. I can't remember the actor's name from Rebel Ridge. He was being told that he's too big, too muscular, is too tall to play certain types of characters.
Yeah.
And my rebuttal to that for Hollywood is, these people exist, right? Big, giant, muscular dudes exist, and they find love, and they're sweet and kind, and all these things as well. They're not just brutes. So I think that that's something that should be um, delved into a little bit. Like make a rom com where the dude is the size of Batista, and he finds love, and he's all cute and walking puppies and shit. Because we ain't seen that yet.
Yeah, I'm Knock on the Cabin was a little bit of a good performance for him. I didn't really love that movie, but it was definitely something out of the ordinary for him. I'd like for him to get in a more serious, meaty role. I think that'd be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I don't remember what the hell I watched that I'm even allowed to talk about. That's the problem I have these days. I'm watching so much stuff that is coming out soon. I watched The Old Man season 2, which was right? Like it reminded me of like Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow like trying to fight people. It kind of just reminded me of like Liam Neeson in a damn horror movie, you know, like trying to fight people in an action movie. It was just like they're so lethargic and slow, and it's like, why are we doing this? It didn't make a whole lot of sense. Will and Harper. I know it came out in like select theaters or whatever this week. It's going to be playing at the National Film Festival. Fantastic. Like it's brilliant, heartfelt. Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can't really say about that. I just loved it. I loved it a lot, to be honest with you. It's really it's a great movie. It teaches you a lot about different aspects of the questions that we could be asking, the learning, the understanding of the trans community that's not at the forefront of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of it that's not asked in the right way or trying to understand. People like to criticize something they don't understand at the end of the day. That's what it is. You know what I mean? If they don't understand it, then they want to criticize it and they don't want to take the time to learn it. So fantastic. I applaud Will Ferrell for taking that opportunity, taking that risk, because it's truly remarkable. Yeah, that's about it, I think. I do know that this week, the Aaron Hernandez show drops on FX, the first 2 episodes. Give it a shot. I think it's fantastic. It's a great show. I loved it. It's informative, wild, crazy. If you love your Florida program from the early 2000s when Urban Meyer was there, you might not want to watch this. Urban Meyer, if you're watching this, there's no way in hell you're watching this podcast, but if you are, don't watch the show. But outside of that, man, it's I definitely think it's gonna be one of the most talked about shows for a couple weeks, just based on the sports community. So
yeah, I remember listening to the
podcast.
and sheesh, the Dark Life, and it seems like, look, man, okay, I think this is a perfect thing that kind of goes with Penguin, and what made him a sympathetic character is because, from what I remember from the podcast, he had a life where it was shitty. Like, father sucked, and he couldn't be who he was, so he pretended and beefed up this macho personality that turns into violence multiple times. And I believe Colin Farrell said it in the press conference. He was like, you don't excuse what these people do, but you do know, like, it's kind of like the hurt people type thing. Like, there's a trauma that caused this person to eventually go down this road, and it doesn't excuse the bad things they did, but you can at least go, oh, they were badly hurt by something or someone that caused this, and how can we prevent other people in the future from experiencing this trauma that will eventually lead them down this road.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And understanding that, and then just understanding the levels of his story, and it's going to be talked about. It's going to be crazy because, obviously there's aspects of it that, who knows, is it true, is it false, you know what I mean? That's also something to kind of think about when it comes down to it as well. So I can't wait for the conversation. You know what I mean? It's one of those, it's a sports show, so you know what I mean? Those conversations always come to the forefront of the table. So it'll be the Monday morning cooler conversation. And there's a lot of it that doesn't make sense when it comes to like what the characters and what the people look like. But if you just go into it, just kind of thinking about the story and the aspect of that and seeing that, it'll definitely be talked about because it paints it in an interesting light. So it comes out on Tuesday. My review will drop on Fandom Wire for that as well. So, but yeah, I think that is it for this week's episode of the Popcorn People podcast. We thank you guys so much for the continued support of the show. Like I said, we got plenty of content coming over the next couple weeks. It's award season. We'll be in a couple of exhausted fellas. You know what I mean? I'll be covering a film festival in a sling. But yeah, so it'll be fun and I can't wait for it. But we'll be back No, we won't be back next week, actually. We'll be back the week after that. We are covering the festival, so we will not be here next week, but we will be here the week after, breaking down all of our favorite films from the Nashville Film Festival. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys soon.